Hey guys, Jackson here. Thank you for starting to watch this video. Just want to let you know that in this video, in this episode, it might contain some content that might be a bit distressing, might be a bit sensitive to others. Just thought we'd let you know. If you need to call Lifeline 13 11 14, there's always Beyond Blue. There's places that can help. But just thought we'd let you know. You can go here for the times that you need to skip if you don't want to listen to it, or you can listen to it yourselves. But yeah, thank you for watching and hope you like the episode.
Thanks, Basil. I just want to give you a bit of an insight into the Saturday afternoon team. We're a bunch of unique individuals.
Hello and welcome to episode 12 of the Unique Individuals podcast. We are back and it's great to be back as usual. We've got Jackson alongside me. Good to see you, mate.
Yeah, happy to be here, mate. Should be an absolute ripper of an episode.
We've got Hugo as usual. Good to see you, mate.
Good to be here, boys.
Now, Blair's missing, unfortunately. He's up in the Gold Coast, so he's enjoying the nice warm weather. But we are lucky enough to have Connor on Zoom all the way from Hamilton, back at his hometown. Good to have you, Connor.
Yeah, cheers, boys. Thanks for having me on. Obviously, a little bit different this time around, being at home and just doing it online. But nonetheless, great to be on, boys.
Whether it's in person or virtual, it's good to have you, mate. And we'll get started. Great to be back. It's been 2 weeks. It's been a long 2 weeks, but it's always good to be here, and we enjoy this very much. It's definitely a highlight to our weeks, that's for sure. But we'll get into what's been happening with us recently. We might start off with Connor. Mate, you've taken the trip back home. It's been a while since you've been back home, but I'm sure it's great to be back home, see the family and get back to your old ways. And you've obviously have to update us on how cricket's been going for the Bourne Saints.
Yeah, obviously it's still a little bit of a different tune back home, not quite as much going on, but it's been good to be back home. Got home just over a week ago, but so I haven't been doing too much, just catching up with the family and going a few little places here and there, but not too much here. There's certainly no workers club in Hamilton, so there hasn't been quite as much going on. But on the cricket front, played cricket last weekend just before I jetted off back home, but it was good. It was good to finally play for ball, and I think I was probably the best player that had never played a game.
Self-indulgence much, mate.
Because everyone else, has played. Everyone else would have played a game, but no, it was really good to get out there with the lads. Played against the Mount Waverley Catholic boys, and judging by the expletives and the way they were speaking, I don't think they had too many religious bones in their body. But no, it was really fun. We found ourselves in a pretty tough spot. I don't know. I batted pretty low down the order, probably like 9, and we were probably like 7 for 40, 50. I don't know. I can't really remember. And then lost another wicket. I was still in, and then Blair come in, and we actually batted for a while together. Normally, I just get out straight away when we bat together, or we just bat in different positions. He's a bit higher up the order, but batted for a while. Managed to scrap together a little partnership and got to close to 100. I think it was 97, and then it was really slow outfield and stuff like that. So we just bowled well, backed ourselves in, and bowled him out for 31. So that was pretty ideal. Good day out.
Yeah, unbelievable stuff, Connor. Well, I've actually got your statistics here on my phone. And so this was against the Mount Waverley Catholics. Your figures for bowling were 2 for 8 off 8 overs, and you managed to scrap a 23, which was the highest score for your team. And Blair actually got 3 for 14 off 8 overs and a 9 not out. And there was a post on the socials to see who was the Burns performer. And I think it was quite convincingly that you won that debate, Connor. And then we also obviously had Hugo playing as well. And Hugo, can you reflect on your performance on that game?
I wasn't too good during that game, but Connor's left out that he nearly took a hat-trick in that game. It was about 2 or 3 inches off an edge on the hat-trick ball. played a miss to the keeper. It was very good over for him, Connor, there when he took his wickets.
Yeah, nice.
He was going well. But personally, I had a shocker in that game. I think I made one off about 2 overs. Snicked off to the opening bowler. Didn't bowl. So I had an absolute shocker of a day. I've had a shocker 2 weeks.
I heard the fielding was all right, though, from skipper Benny Lardner.
I think that's just a bit of politeness rather than
is it?
anything. I didn't do anything special. It was a bit rubbish, but nothing compared to Connor and Blair. That was terrific.
Yeah.
Hold on, did you say that you had a rough game?
Oh, I've had a rough 2 weeks.
Exactly.
Rough
I
2
think we're just
weeks.
going to emphasise that you've had. Actually, I think you've had a rough season. I mean, you did all right with the ball, but I think you've had a bit.
Quick recap on the last 3 weeks for you, Hugo, with the bat.
6 in the first game. So, just getting out the cobwebs in that game. 1 in the second. Duck last week. So I'm averaging 2.5 in the season. 0.5 runs a game in the last 2 games in the threes. Less than a run a game in the three. So it's not going well for me.
Yeah, it's not well. Yeah, definitely. But you know what? It's the start of the season, and still a long one to go, and you can redeem yourself. But do you think you'll hold your third place, or do you think you'll be dropped back to my dad's team in the fours?
Oh, to be honest, I think I'm looking at the Sunday team in the vets.
Oh.
At this rate, I'm going shocking.
Oh yeah, that's good stuff. But Connor, it's great that you got a chance to play. It's unfortunate that you can't play until maybe early Feb or something when you come back to the Big Smoke. But it's good that you were able to play and get your name around the club and people get a taste of what you could bring to the team. But yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So there, it's a bit hard with the Zoom. The virtual connection. Try to work out who says what at the right time. But anyway, I mean, I haven't done much myself. But Owen, what about you? You've I suppose you haven't been playing with the boys, but you've put together a decent knock on the weekend. And
Well, last weekend was all right. 2 weeks ago, so 2 weeks ago wasn't the best day. I've been waiting 7 weeks to get a chance out in the middle to bat and edge off second ball to the opener, opening the batting in the ones. Just chasing a ball, fifth line stump, swinging away, not just there to leave. That's the opener's role, to leave it, play it in the V. But I went for a slashing drive, little edge straight to keeper, and that was my day with the bat. Fielded well, got 2 catches and a assisted run out. But yeah, you'd rather, for me, I'd rather bat better than keep, Yeah. But wasn't great. So, but then last week, 2 days ago, so ones were called off early in the week. Just the ground was not good due to this crappy weather. But twos was still, on, and it wasn't called off yet. So I actually got dropped to the twos on performance-wise, maybe, but also because the coach, Paul Fisher, really wanted me to have a crack in the twos and get some runs and, build a bit of confidence. So I got to the ground. Conditions were all right. Really windy, though. Really windy, and the rain hadn't hit yet, but you could see it coming. And yeah, it started to hit, and we were like, do we get on? Do we not? So we started, though. We lost the toss, had a bat first, so we probably would have wanted to bowl first, but we batted. So I got called up to open the batting with Oscar Teresi in very, very tough conditions. Let me just describe. The rain was going sideways into my face through the grill of the helmet. That's how hard it was. And by about the 5th over, the pitch was muddy almost. Like it was on the turf pitch was muddy because just the rain was getting soaked up and everything. But managed to survive the first 5-10 overs. Oscar Teresi got an absolute seed out first ball. Unlucky for him, but managed to make a little partnership with Serge Musi, batting at 3. And then I was on about 20 runs, and I decide in wet conditions, go for a quick single. Very big mistake. Hit it straight.
also quick then by the sounds of it.
Yeah, well, I hit it straight to the bowler, and I've gone, wait. and he misses it, and I'm running to the danger end, and I would have made it home. I was about three quarters of the pitch. Serge is, parked at the non-striker's end, not moving, going, no. I'm like, oh, you're kidding me. And in the wet conditions, I had to take multiple steps to get my grip to then run back to the striker's end to make it home. And I was out by about, a metre or so. So, went for a full dive, got mud all over me. But that was my day. Got out for 20. Runs are runs. 20 is not bad. I'll take it at my form. It's
Anything better than what I've done every career, so.
Yeah, it wasn't the best. But and I kept all right. But we just lost, unfortunately, by 4 wickets with 8 balls remaining. Which was actually the way it went for all teams this weekend. I think, except the Vets, all senior teams lost by either 1 run. I think the fours lost by 1 run. The thirds
Lost by 10.
And we lost by 4 wickets. So it was all really close, but none of us could really get over the line. But that was my weekend. So positives, negatives, but we move on. I'm just happy that we actually got on. Because it was meant to be bucketing down, but the rain just missed us at Toorak, which is where we were located. Just missed us, which I'm really grateful for. But yeah, that was my cricketing weekend. And yeah, so Jackson, what have you been up to though? I'd love to know what you've been up to recently.
Yeah, well, the running sheet says nothing because that actually sums up what I've been doing. Not much, but I managed to listen to the Back Pocket Banter podcast yesterday. Season 3 is back out. Shout out to the boys, Burns boys with their podcast. I did appreciate the shout out. As a few of us boys did get.
Definitely, yep.
But the main thing I sort of picked up. Firstly, shout out to Blair. My Supercoach team was not rigged. Just put that out there. But in that case, I do empathise with you, Blair, as well. You speaking about cricket. You did speak about having a bat with your brother and being stuck at the non-strikers end. I can say that I have been in the same situation myself. My brother and I, we spent a season of I think under 14s together on down at South Marine Crew Club 1 year. And yeah, got to bat on a couple of occasions. I remember one time I was looking for a run, easy single there. He's telling me no. Next time comes around, I think he gets out and I'm stranded on nothing. So that's one less run that I could have had to the total. Which is a pretty healthy average of 3.19. But yeah, so.
Yeah, not the best, but that's just village cricket, isn't it? At its finest.
3.19 it says on there, but your bowling figure's better than that. I took a few wickets. I mean, I consider myself more of a bowler. I don't think the stats tell the full story, but yeah, I mean, you know, age like a fine wine, mate. So.
And we've also got on the running sheet. I think Jack's put it down. Preparing for the 2023 basketball season. I'm not too sure what this is about, but Jackson, you might want to inform the listeners and the viewers about what this is.
About. Us as a collective, obviously there's 5 of us in the group. Basketball has 5 players on the court to start off with. So, we've sort of been contemplating, for some of the boys, a return to basketball, like just social basketball, during the week. And we went for a session last week. Safe to say, I was impressed by some of the boys. They're like, like for example, Blair's telling me he's like Steph Curry when he hits his threes and everything like that. And to be fair, he was hitting. Hugo would be able to agree with me. He was hitting 3 after 3. But.
Yeah, it was raining threes from Blair. Was it 2 weeks ago, maybe?
Yeah, about that.
Week and a half ago. He was hitting some good shots. Connor was giving some good dimes out. Jackson and I were more or less watching. It was good from Blair.
Yeah, but I mean, I can't speak for you, but it's been just over a year since I touched actually played with the basketball. So I suppose I was watching in that regard. But I think you sell yourself short, mate. With you always say you're like, oh, I'm horrendous from three. I'm thinking you're like Shaq or something like that hitting for three. But then I see, Connor will be able to agree with me here. But seeing like here hitting like 4 threes in a row, just like them hitting the roof and then going in. Yeah, Connor, what were your thoughts on the big man? He definitely had some talent there.
Yeah, I've got to be honest. I was pretty impressed. He had a very nice arc to his shots, and wouldn't hit everyone, which is obviously pretty hard to do, but hit a fair few of them, especially if you're open. He made a pretty good fist of it, but his ability to get inside as well and pace and be able to finish off under the rim pretty handy. So I think could be a pretty good acquisition to the side if we can get one together next year, and one of the better big men that I've seen, probably better than most that I've played with. So pretty excited for it, and it was good just to see everyone just have a bit of a crack at it, and it was good fun. So looking forward to it.
100%. I reckon. I like the idea, Jackson. I think if none of us get injured, because we're not going to have any subs, but if none of us get injured, this is definitely a good idea, I reckon. And I think we've all got our position set. I think Blair at point guard, Hugo at center, Jackson power forward. Small forward.
Yeah,
am I power forward?
You can take power forward.
And Connor in the Michael Jordan position at shooting guard.
I'd swap it around, mate. I'd swap it around. The times that Connor was dishing, he was like Chris Paul, but just doesn't shoot. Although he has a decent mid-range. So, Blair will shoot all day and Connor will pass him off to him. So I reckon he got that sorted.
But yeah, it's definitely an idea for next year, for sure. Something we can all do. But yeah, nice stuff. And obviously Blair's in the Gold Coast, not with us today, enjoying the lovely weather. Unlike here, it's an absolute shocking day today. But yeah, he'll be up there for maybe a week or so. Hopefully he'll be back next episode, but he will be back next episode, and we'll talk about more of the next episode later on in this episode. That was a bit of a mouthful, but much to look forward to your viewers and to the listeners out there. But we'll move on now to the Storytime segment. So this week we have Jackson talking to us and to our viewers and listeners on a story he has to share. This story, obviously, it's a bit of a different one, unlike a funny one, more of a serious one that's definitely, affects, a lot of people out there. It's obviously around the issue of men's mental health, and obviously we have Connor doing Movember, raising awareness, and I think Jackson has a story today to really share his insight to the whole issue of mental health. So Jackson, the microphone is yours.
Thank you. Obviously, before I start, I just want to say this, like a warning, this might contain some, some parts of it might be distressing to others, and could contain some sensitive content, because I feel that this is the right time. I need to say something. But yeah, I mean, if this story goes over time or anything like that, I'll be happy to pay any fine or anything like that. But I feel that this story needs to get out. I apologise obviously for the mood change, like I said, but most people, well, some people that might know me, know that I have had mental health problems in the past. Probably around probably my final year of school, probably about halfway through my final year of school, which for listeners was 2019. I started having anxiety problems, depression, all that stuff. I sort of it was sort of a time in my life where, everything was changing around me. Obviously school finishing up, everything like that. Just trying to work out where I fit in. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had times where, I'd have emotional breakdowns. I felt like I wanted to remain isolated. Stuff like that. Managed to get some help as well, like seeing psychologists. I thought the brunt of it was over. As we ended that school year, I thought coming into uni and everything like that would all be good. But then, as everyone knows, we had COVID, so that was it was a bit of an issue. Sort of had to remain isolated, actually, for real, not feeling like it myself. But yeah, it was just one of those tough times for me. I ended up going back, trying to see a psychologist again towards that mid to late 2020, then sort of started 2021. Left my job that was creating some stress for me and stuff like that, which ended up being turned out to be a good move in the end. Actually, no, that was 2022. I left my job. Never mind. But yeah, I just had a few moments here and there. Thought I went past it. I was able to get face-to-face interaction at uni. 2022, I reckon this has probably been, I felt this has been one of my best years in terms, for a while, in terms of mental space. But I mean, the reason I am telling you this issue, and it is hard to say, but my mental health issues are back. I have had, I don't know what's contained it. Like I said, I thought I was having, I was in the best year of my life in terms of obviously, doing this podcast and everything like that. Meeting you boys has been amazing for my mental health, and yeah, I don't know for what reason, but in terms of emotional breakdowns, I've had probably 4 in the last, I've had 3 probably since this last episode, 4 probably in the last month or so, I reckon. Last week, last Tuesday, I realised I needed help again. I needed to, see someone about this, because it's one of those ones where sometimes, you don't know what's up or anything like that, but you could just be that overwhelmed. It's you don't even know what's going on. I couldn't even put a finger on the pulse or anything like that. It's just one of those things. And that was it for me. That for anyone that would know about the issue, it's very hard to make that decision and say that I need help. I remember, even just getting my phone out to send a message was just, it was just tough. It was I'm just sitting there. It's you want people to help you, but it's at the same time, you keep pushing people away, and it's just one of those things that I wish was different, but knowing the situation, it's just nature. It's it's just one of those things. I think the reason that I'm sort of saying this at the moment is not for sympathy, not for not for people to say, oh, such and such and everything like that. It's just more to put it out there and get it off my chest. I mean, I apologise if this is obviously confronting to some people, but I feel it's it's an issue that needs to be it's an issue that needs to be told. I mean, this is it's part of the reason why I'm doing the run, which is, I think, just under a fortnight away. But yeah, I mean, I obviously did it I did the run thinking of the moments in the past, but now this has sort of come back at that time. It just, for me, makes it even more, makes me probably even more determined to do the run. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what I had. I learnt from my previous experiences that, instead of keeping it bottled up, I needed to say something. I mean, as much as it might not, I'm not expecting it to occur straight away by saying something. It's obviously a long process, but it's a process that I've been through before, and I feel this is the right way to go about it. But But yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Well, firstly, Jackson, thank you for sharing that and being open to us and to everyone out there. And so it's definitely a serious issue that not only you might face, but others out there. But yeah, come here, mate. We're here for you. Yeah. When everyone out there, if you experience anything, anxiety, depression, you know, that people are out there for you, you know, and that you're not alone, and that you don't know how much, you know, people love you, you know, you're not alone. And yeah, it's definitely something serious. And obviously you're running for a great cause, and Connor yourself, you're doing Movember to raise obviously mental health, for men and, you know, suicide prevention, all that. So for you, Connor, Jackson, for what you're doing, and you know, I think it's definitely a serious issue, but it's you know, it's good how we're raising it and being so open about it. And yeah, Jackson, thank you for sharing. Yeah, we really appreciate that.
Yeah,
And,
just quickly as well, Lifeline 13 11 14, just in case you know, anyone is, whether it's by this story or just in general, needs help. It's out there. Apologies if it was confronting to people, but yeah, again.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, that wraps our story time for this week. Obviously, a bit of a different one, but definitely a serious one, and it's very relevant in today's world and society. But again, after every story time, we remind our viewers and listeners that if you do want to be heard on the podcast, whether it's whatever type of story you want to share with us, we are open, and yeah, be heard, get involved. It's a great experience, and yeah, you can share with all your mates that you were on the Unique Individuals podcast. How lucky! But yeah, that wraps up our story time for this week, and we'll get into the sport stuff and the sport talk. So obviously, as you have seen, the YouTube viewers will have seen that we are in our football kits. I'm in my Liverpool kit. Jackson's in his Australian kit, and Hugo's in his terrible Man United kit. And Connor,
what are you
yeah,
in?
what are you wearing, Connor?
I don't really have a kit, to be honest, boys.
Are you wearing anything right now?
I'm wearing quarters, yeah, but yeah, not soccer stuff. But I'll do my best with this, and it should be a good tournament, you know. And yeah, we look forward to talking about this, but I guess you guys will take the reins on it.
Yeah,
being more knowledgeable.
We'll definitely get started on it. So obviously, the World Cup has just begun. Actually, this morning it has just begun, and we are excited. I think everyone's excited. It is in Qatar this year. A lot of controversy, and you know, a lot of talk's been going around the whole issue of, is it ethical? You know, a lot of ethical issues have been involved in this World Cup so far. And you know, the idea of whether it should be in Qatar, is it fair? You know, the whole bidding rights was a whole debate. A lot of controversy has been involved in this World Cup, but it's once every 4 years. When it starts, that all goes out the window, because we're there for the fans are there. They're passionate about the football, and they're there to watch the World Cup, and they're there to watch their nation and support them. And well, it's just begun, actually. This morning was the first game. Host nation Qatar played against Ecuador. 2-0 loss to Qatar, so Ecuador won that. Yeah, Qatar, they seem like pretenders, let me tell you. They're lucky to be in the World Cup just because they're host nation. But we're excited. Australia play...
They've got France.
They got France up first. That is Wednesday, the 23rd of November, 6 a.m. I think that's 6 a.m. our time.
Yeah, it would be.
It would be.
Yeah.
So make sure to get up for that and support the Aussies, because we do have a genuine chance against France. Because, I mean, I've written an article on Scribe Sports. Make sure to check that out. It's got all the preview and my predictions on the World Cup. But if you read in that article, France have got a lot of injured players this tournament. And just recently, I didn't include it in my article, but yesterday, Benzema, the Ballon d'Or winner for 2022 is out of the World Cup. That's massive.
Big loss.
Big loss. So you never know. Football's a funny game, and it's a game change. You know, anything can happen. You know, just like that, a goal here, a goal there, momentum shifts. But yeah, let's hope the Aussies do well. I mean, we all want them to do well. Realistically, they're not the strongest team. It's going to be a. I think the chances. I have to get my article up, but the chances for us making the group stage is about 17% and a 0.1% of winning the tournament. So, I mean, it's not looking very good, is it?
That tells the story, doesn't it?
That does. But we'll get into the predictions from the boys. Connor, we might start with you. I know soccer is not your number one sport, but I know you've been doing a little bit of research to, you know, be involved in the discussion. But Connor, I want to get your winners, runners-up, golden boot and golden ball for this year's World Cup.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, it's football's obviously something I might need to develop more of a passion for, but I'm definitely going to sit down and watch a few games, and we hope the Aussies go well. But yeah, we'll just see how it pans out. But for my winner, I've looked at a few articles. Not sure what sort of legitimacy or accuracy they've got with them, but for my winner, I've gone Argentina. I think a lot of people would probably like to see it. Lionel Messi is not getting any younger, that's for sure. So if he can almost sort of not finish off, but in the twilight of his career, you know, win a World Cup, it would be great to see. And I think people said it's sort of the romantic choice, the soccer, or the football lovers' choice out there for Argentina to get up. So I reckon they'll do it for him, and they've obviously got a lot of strong players, and they've had a rich enough history in the sport as well. And the runners up, I reckon Spain. Just another good side in there, I think. So I think they'll do pretty well. You know, most tournaments they play, or whether it's a really big one or, you know, small ones, they do a pretty good account of themselves and play pretty well. So I reckon they'll finish runners up. And golden boot, I reckon Harry Kane, from England, UK, whatever you want to call it. I think he'll score a few goals and be pretty important to, you know, their chances of going pretty well, and probably end up scoring the most goals in the league as a real focal point of his side. And the golden ball winner, I've gone Lionel Messi as well. I think if he has a good tournament, if Argentina win, he'll have a very good tournament, very good World Cup, and play really well, and will sort of be the obvious choice there if they can go well. But that's my thoughts on it. But I'm interested to hear your boys, because you probably got might have different views on it, and might have, you know, better views on it.
Something's better than nothing, mate.
No, appreciate that,
That's what
Connor.
I've got.
Nah, thanks for sharing, Connor. Yeah, definitely, not bad predictions at all by any means. But we'll move on to the other boys and see what they predicted. Do we have Blair's around?
So obviously Blair thought of this whilst sunbaking on the Gold Coast, but but yeah, he had Brazil winning it, England as runners up, and then he didn't give me a golden boot because I didn't ask him for one, but golden ball, Lionel Messi. I think that's going to be a recurring theme with all the boys, but yeah, so those were his predictions.
Yeah, nice. Well, we'll get Hugo now to see what he thinks on the predictions for the World Cup.
I think Argentina will win. I hope they do if Australia doesn't win. I like Messi. I think he's good player, obviously.
Just good. He's all right.
He goes all right.
He goes all right.
He's no Rob Harvey or anything, but he goes all right. It'd always be a bit of redemption for Argentina. They probably should have won in 2014 against Germany.
Yeah. Argentina, they've got a great team.
Yeah.
So
they've still got. Yeah. It's pretty similar to that 2014 team as well. You know, still. Higuain's retired, but there's still Di Maria.
And I think he was the one that really cost them the game up front.
Yeah, you know, Aguero's not playing anymore, is he? He's retired.
No, he's not in. He's not in the squad for the team. But yeah, I mean,
I was just saying, still got a lot of firepower up front apart from Messi. Runners up, I reckon Portugal. I reckon that'd be just about the most watched sporting event of all time if it was
that would
Argentina
be-
Portugal.
That would be amazing.
That'd be
I'd
phenomenal.
even watch it.
Yeah, like
I would 100% support match fixing if that was the final. Like, I would 100% support it.
yeah, that'd be an awesome final. I'd love to see it. Golden boot. I'll Rob. Actually, no, I won't go with Connor. I'll go with Neymar. Yeah, I think Brazil get pretty deep into the tournament. Brazil look primed to have a really good crack at it.
Yeah.
Golden ball, probably Messi.
Yeah.
You know, he seems like a bit of a man possessed at the moment, so give him the credit for it.
Fair call. Jackson, your predictions.
So Hugo's gone and said he's not going to rob Connor's predictions yet. He's just taken mine straight out of the book, right? I've done all this preparation, as everyone can see. I've done all that, and he's just gone and taken my predictions. But anyway, no, I mean, you know, I understand. You follow soccer just as much as I do, so yeah, I mean, I apologise if these are off, but yeah, I mean, Brazil and Argentina are definitely the two best teams in it.
Yeah. It's fair to say.
Yeah, I reckon that's a fair call to make, but I reckon they're too good for either of them to finish second in their group, which means they will have to cross paths, most likely in a semi-final. But yeah, I thought, what's the next best thing? I wanted, you know, I mean, Brazil to start off with, they didn't lose in qualifying. You know, they conceded 4 goals in qualification. Thanks to they've got two of the best keepers, Alisson and Ederson, in goal. Neymar has been dominant. He scored 8 goals in qualifiers, and then for PSG this season in League One, 11 goals from 14 appearances. It's just outstanding. And the last time they lost was against Argentina in the 2021 Copa America final. So I reckon, you know, who's been better than Brazil? Argentina, I think, been the only team that have been able to stop Brazil. You know, didn't lose in qualifying. 1 game off the record for the most games unbeaten at an international level. They're currently at 36 at the moment. Italy from 2018, 2021 is in reach. You know, and by the looks of it, should get done. This is Messi's chance to finally win a World Cup. Going to Argentina, Portugal final, with Argentina winning it. Like the boys have said, if Messi and Ronaldo, the last dance type scenario there, I don't think there'll be a set of eyeballs that won't be watching that match. It will just be amazing. You know, Messi will. I mean, as much as they're both goats anyway, you know, Messi will officially win that bout if some people might say that he's already done it, but he'll officially win that bout if Argentina win in that. What else have I got? I mean, Portugal might be a bit of a bold call for the final, but Argentina have the stronger of the two. They've got the stronger of the two sides, but they're good enough to beat their opposition. Like I've got them having to beat France in the first round, then the Netherlands. Who else? France, Netherlands, and Brazil on their way to the World Cup final. But in terms of Portugal, you know, their side, they've got England. I'm telling you right now, it's not coming home. I don't think their defence for me, especially like at centre back, you know, say what you will about what I'm going to say, but I don't think it's talented enough. I mean, Harry Maguire's been up and down. They're sort of going to fill the space with John Stones. They haven't really got much depth at centre back. And then I mean, Denmark are the dark horses, but I reckon Portugal will just get over the line against them in a penalty shootout in the semi. But yeah, and then I've got Neymar golden boot, Lionel Messi golden ball. So yeah,
Fair enough. Sounds very valid there. Yeah, well, for me, I've got Argentina as well winning the World Cup. Again, when I did my predictions, I had Argentina and Brazil meeting in the semis. And I just think the occasion and the context of, Messi and this is his last World Cup, I just think Argentina I think they would want to win it more. Like, you would think that. You just think it's right. You just feel it feels like this is the right time for Argentina to win the World Cup. Yeah. It just feels right. Just like, Geelong win the 2022 World Cup. Not World Cup. Premiership. It just felt right, It just felt right. So, but no, I think Argentina will win. Runners up, I had England. And the only reason why I've got England is I'll quickly just get my article up. So I had England beating Senegal in round of 16 because I think they'll finish top on the group. Then England versus Denmark. I think England would win that too in the quarterfinals. That makes England versus Spain in the semis. Only because I predicted Spain to beat Portugal in the quarterfinals. So I think Spain I think they're going to be the surprise team. Because I think they can perform in any tournament well. But I think England would beat Spain. Like I just have that feeling.
So you see Germany finishing on top of that group?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do. And I think Spain will beat Belgium in round of 16. I think Belgium will be a team that will bomb out quite quickly, even though I predicted them finishing top in their group. But in the case of if Spain played Portugal and Portugal beat Spain and Portugal played England, I think Portugal would win.
Okay.
Which would mean Argentina versus Portugal in the final.
Yeah.
But I think not Australia, Argentina versus England in the final. And then therefore England to be runners up. Yeah. But you never know. Yeah. That's just my prediction. Golden Boot, I had Harry Kane. I just think in international matches he's something different. He showed it in the Euros. And I think, nothing will change in the World Cup. I think he, especially if I have England making it all the way to the final, I think Harry Kane will be a big piece to that puzzle. Will be influential. Golden Boot, again, Lionel Messi. I think if Argentina are going to win it, he has to step up and, do his GOAT thing and just be the player that he is. And, not end the debate because the debate's already done. He's the GOAT, 100%. They're my predictions. And,
I will say this, though. If England and Senegal face each other in the round of 16, I would not be surprised if Senegal beat England.
Fair enough.
That's my bold call.
I think Sadio Mane, though, is a big miss for Senegal. Yeah. Their number one player is missing.
I think they can still get it done, though.
Yeah. Well, you never know. You never know. That's the beauty of football. You never know what could happen. But we cannot wait. The World Cup has started this morning, and tomorrow England, Iran, Senegal, Netherlands, USA, Wales, Argentina, Saudi Arabia. So nothing no blockbuster matches, but get around it. Watch a game or two. Because we're here for it. We cannot wait to see how the tournament progresses and see how teams go. But that's the World Cup wrap up. We'll be back to recap what's been happening so far in our next episode. But we'll move on now to the cricket, and we have to get through the Cricket World Cup final finished 2 weeks. Was it 2 weeks ago? Yeah. England finishing on top against Pakistan. So we'll quickly go through that, and then obviously the Australian and England ODI series is currently happening. Australia, surprisingly, I think fair to say, have beaten England in 2 matches already out of 3, so they've already won the series. Yep. And the last game at the MCG is tomorrow. But before we look at that, we'll look at the Cricket World Cup final, England versus Pakistan. Jackson,
yep.
Your take on this and how the game went, and are you surprised at all with the performance from England?
Not really, to be honest with you, especially with the way that they played towards the back end of the tournament. I think that Josh Buttler was immense in that back half. He looked like he was in for a big performance in that game, but Harris Rauf basically kept them in the game. And then Ben Stokes was the match winner in the end. Shaheen Afridi, you could say that if he was, if he didn't get injured, Pakistan could have come back and put together one of the best World Cup performances, like in a turnaround that we've seen. But yeah, I mean, it's safe to say it all started off with Sam Curran. He capped off a brilliant campaign, had 3 for 12 off 4 overs. Adil Rashid even as well. Sort of turned the tide a little bit. But I mean, England, and I suppose it then reflects onto the ODI series. I think they're a bit hungover from that World Cup final.
Yeah,
but,
I reckon.
But yeah, I mean, it's expected, I suppose. So, but yeah, what about your thoughts, boys?
Well, yeah, I think, England definitely the best team in the tournament. Pakistan, they fought hard, fair to say, but I think in that final, England were always on top. I think the wicket to Alex Hales was very important early on for Pakistan, but Josh Butler hung around, made a solid 30-odd maybe.
Yeah, I think it was about
I can't recall, but I think the only way Pakistan could have won that is to get Hales and Butler out early. And they got Hales out early, but Butler hung around just to, steady the ship. And, they were cruising for the whole game, really, and won comfortably at the end. Ben Stokes, going out of run a ball, but, did the job. And as he always does, really, finishes off the game. So, he did well. But I agree with the whole hangover thing. I think with the whole Australia and England ODI series, Australia have been winning that very convincingly. First game won by 6 wickets, second game won by 72 runs. I mean, I think... Australia did terrible. I think it's fair to say. We, as a host nation and as one of the best cricket teams in the world, should be finishing top 2 in a T20 comp.
Easy,
but,
especially defending champions as well.
Exactly. But we
horrendous.
embarrassed ourselves, to say the least. But we're doing all right in the ODIs. And Jackson, I believe you're going to the game tomorrow.
Was going to the game.
You were, okay.
Hugo has had to work once again, so...
Yeah, we got a new grocery manager at Coles, and he's had a nightmare with the rosters, so I had to work, so I didn't have to work on Sunday when we're in Hamilton.
Fair enough.
So
Fair
I
enough.
had to pull a few favours in.
Understandable. But anyway, so that's the cricket wrap up.
Connor, did you have any thoughts on the cricket?
I think, as you said before, was it expected? Yeah, probably. I mean, timing's everything in tournaments, and especially in T20 cricket, and England just played really well towards the back end. We're a little bit scratchy early. We've sort of lost us to Ireland, which was, a bit unlucky. They wouldn't have lost the 20-over match to Ireland, I don't reckon. But they timed it well, played really well, and they bowled really well, and then Pakistan didn't quite have enough on the board, but Pakistan bowled pretty well as well. They made a good fist of it, but they really just needed to bowl them all out. That was the only way they were going to win that pretty much, because England batted pretty deep as well. So it was a reasonable game. It had the makings to be an all-timer if Pakistan put on maybe 20 more runs, I reckon. So, but it was a good tournament, and well done to England. But I think they do have a bit of a hangover from the World Cup, with the first ODI being only 4 or 5 days later. So that first game, they pretty much played their seconds team, and then we won quite easily. And then just the other day as well, Saturday, Australia won pretty easily, and Steve Smith looks like he's back in form. And as he said, I'm back, baby. So he's playing pretty good, which is a good sign for Australian cricket.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
Yeah, I kind of just robbed what I was about to say. I was just about to ask you, boys, if you reckon Smudge is back. Back to his best.
Fair to say, yeah.
Was it a score of 85 and 94 or something?
80 not out of 94 I've got written here, and I literally have the quote, Steve Smith is back to his best.
Yeah.
So that
I mean, we haven't really seen it since the 2019 Ashes, like his absolute best. So it'd be good to see this summer.
Yeah, 100%.
Good chance against the Windies first up in the Test series. They're not overly strong. Yeah. So you'd hope he gets a few runs on the boards there.
100%. But yeah, that's cricket wrapped up. We're going to move on to the NBA. Obviously, NBA action has been happening. And Jackson, Connor, and Hugo, our experts, will take this one away.
Well, to start off with, first team I want to touch on, it's got to be the Boston Celtics. Even though, yes, I am a Boston fan, so I'm not trying to be biased here, but, first in the East, 12-3. I think, Hugo, I don't know if you'd be able to say the same yourself, but I reckon their depth has been the difference. Has definitely been the difference.
Well, I haven't watched any Boston games apart from the first game of the season, but I'm still not completely sold on them, to be honest. I don't know. I don't think they have the star power at the end to sort of go make a deep run in the playoffs. I reckon they'll sort of get to the first or second round and then sort of bomb out. But yeah, I'm not too sold on the Celtics at the moment, even though they're 12-3, going all right. But, you don't win championships in November. You win them in June, so it's a bit too early to go.
Ooh. Big call.
Okay, that's fair enough, I suppose. That's a bit of an excuse for your Lakers at the moment. But yeah, I mean, you say they don't have the star power. Jason Tatum's the top 2 MVP contender, according to NBA.com. And then I've just got some stats here for you that I'm just rattle off. The second for points scored per game, 0.1 behind one team that we'll talk about soon, the Sacramento Kings. First in point differential and third in 3-point percentage. Those are some stats in that there.
Well, I mean, it's 15 games in. We'll just pump the brakes on those stats a little bit. As to Jason Tatum, he's good in the regular season. Don't think he's as good in the postseason. In the playoffs. So still not too sure on the Celtics yet.
Big players step up in finals.
One, let's just say 2022. Is it 22 season? Yeah, against Miami Heat, Game 6, where he went off and saved us from elimination. So
couldn't save you against the Warriors though.
Ooh.
You could never make it there, so I wouldn't even go there.
We went 2 years ago. We got it all right.
No, a lot of love around here, but I want to get Connor's thoughts on this performance. I did say about the Sacramento Kings before. They dished up 153 points against the Brooklyn Nets last week, and I was watching the game, and it was an absolute shocker. Connor, I know you're watching the game as well. What were your thoughts on that situation?
Well, you just said Sacramento are the leading point scoring team in the comp, and we've given them a fair leg up. Just over the past week or so, haven't we? No, that was an absolute circus. That was ridiculous. I was watching it, and it was 40 apiece, sort of early in the second quarter, I think. But then they went on a run of like 26-2 or something crazy, out of the blue, really. And then we couldn't peg it back from there, and had rookies looking like all-time greats for Sacramento. It was pretty ridiculous, really. I mean, highest score this season, highest score for quite some time, I think, as well. I'm not too sure how long, but imagine it'd be quite a while. So, a team that really on paper, probably better than to lose in that way, is really, really disappointing. And before that, we played some pretty good basketball the few games before, and I thought we were kind of on the right track, but that put us back a little bit, and really disappointing. We just can't string 2 games together at the moment, the Brooklyn Nets, which it's pretty frustrating, but I normally watch mostly sort of all the game, but I sort of had to switch it off there because I was so disgusted by the efforts. Some of the defensive plays were just ridiculously bad as well, and so easy for them to score, which hence 153 points, you're going to get that. So, really disappointing, boys.
Yeah. You'll be wrapped that Kyrie Irving's back tonight. Well, tonight over there, but he's back. He's back for this game after 7 games out, I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's missed.
Yeah, good to have him back a bit more, point scoring. But I saw actually you sent me an interesting stat during the week we're the best defensive team without him, and we're pretty much the worst
with him.
defensive team with him. So, I mean, it's surprising in a way, but says a little bit. But I feel like when he plays, we still get pretty close because he's a shoo-in for sort of 20 plus points a game and can really turn it on at times. But probably needs to take a bit of a look at himself with the defensive side of things.
Now, moving on, Hugo, when can't you talk about the Lakers? Look at their performance at the moment. They're 4-10. The only reason they're not last is because the Rockets are tanking. I don't know what you guys are doing because you guys don't even have your first round pick. But yeah, it sort of then leads into our next point. You managed to sneak in AD as an MVP contender. Do you want to explain this ludicrous behaviour?
Look, it hasn't been a good start to the season by the Lakers. There's no hiding that. We've been pretty awful. But, new coach, a bit of time to get used to the new system. Russ is starting on the bench now and played 2 good games off the bench. Been a bit quiet recently, but that's all right. But no, we were 2-10. So, 2-game win streak, that's something that's cause for celebration, I think. And, and that's been done without LeBron, actually. It's worth noting. And it's been AD who's really taken off in the last couple of weeks. Everyone knows about the jokes about AD being a bit fragile, a bit weak. He's always injured. But, he's starting to get, he's played 14 games in a row now. And he's starting to get that consistency back in his game, starting to get the confidence back. You can see game by game. His last 2 games, he scored 38 points apiece and, 18 rebounds and then 16 to go along with them. So, he's really starting to be dominant again. We're starting to see the New Orleans version of AD. So I think he's really starting to get going. He's playing within himself as well. He's shooting from the paint rather than trying to go for these fadeaway baseline jumpers. And it's really good to see. So I just think, as the season goes on, he might become an MVP candidate. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with AD.
Come on, I don't even watch basketball, and I can already tell you that's a shocker of a
Yeah, and I tend to agree with you. The thing is that LeBron can't do it single-handedly anymore. I've just seen some of his. He can put up some decent numbers, but just having a look at it, like he needs people to go along with him for the ride. And yeah, if Davis can get himself fit, then they can get themselves out of this slump. MVP is probably way too much of a stretch, especially with the contenders you've got this year. But moving on from that, talking about MVP contenders, there's one guy at OKC that's doing his work lightly. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has... I'm going to rattle off some numbers again because that's just what I do. 5th in points per game with 31.1 points, 6 assists and 5 rebounds. On average, 7 of his last 10 have been 30-plus points. Get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, he's certainly having an outstanding season, SGA. He's playing quite well. Going well with Giddy. He's sort of been playing well together. I don't think he'd be the top contender for MVP. He'd sort of be in the you got the top bracket. Yeah. He'd probably be the one just below it. But he's really making a case this year, and it'd be cool to see him win. He's quite a awesome player to watch. Really, he's quite creative. So yeah, he's going quite well.
Yeah. Imagine him on that Clippers light up that he was on before that ultimate trade with Paul George, and imagine what that would look like.
Yeah, I don't want to think about that because I don't like the Clippers. So
you don't like anyone, do you? Yeah. All right. Owen, back to you.
All right. Thanks, lads, for giving us a little recap on the NBA recently. But we'll quickly look at the AFLW, the finals recap. But the prelims were played the other day. Funnily enough, when I went out to dinner with Jackson and Blair, Brisbane and Adelaide were playing. And, to be fair, I don't really keep up to date with the AFLW. Probably should, but I don't really. But I just, from watching that game in the corner of my eye, Brisbane just dominated Adelaide, really, in every way. And I just think, and I looked at the ladder, Brisbane finished on top. So, gives me a clear indication that looking at the grand final, Brisbane and Melbourne, I think Brisbane will take home the Chockies easily. But Jackson, I think you have a better idea. So your thoughts on the whole finals?
And I reckon you're on the money there. I reckon, Brisbane will take home the Chockies against Melbourne. It was actually quite close between Melbourne and North, towards the end, but Melbourne just sealed it. They've been dominant. I know Connor's gone on about it all year, but Brisbane and Melbourne have probably been the two best teams all year, so pretty deserving grand final. And Brisbane will get home.
Connor, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with what you boys are saying. Brisbane it's a bit of a changing of the guard this year. I think Brisbane have lost a few grand finals. Adelaide have won 3. I reckon it's sort of changing around now. Adelaide are dropping off a little bit. Sort of a few more aging players, and obviously no Aaron Phillips anymore at the Crows. So Brisbane have just stayed consistent really throughout the entirety of the history of the competition. So they've been good, and they jumped them early. I think I looked at one stage and it was 30 odd to not many at all. So Adelaide might have kicked a few late, which sort of I think that flattered them a little bit, and 23-point loss probably a bit worse than that. I feel if you sit back and watch the game, but and then Melbourne sort of won a tight one. I always knew North Melbourne were kind of better than where they finished. I was surprised to see them beat Richmond by so much, but they're obviously a very good team, and just I think probably had a tough draw during the year. But Melbourne got over the line, and you'd think Brisbane would get up. I'd really like to see Melbourne win this one, especially with it being Daisy Pearce probably last game. She's been one of the main pioneers for women's football ever. So it'd be good to see Melbourne finish off. And sort of send her on her way with a premiership victory, but it should be a tight enough game. I think if Melbourne's really good players can play well, which they'll have to, there'll be a chance. But Brisbane are probably a little bit more even across the board, so probably the Lions get up. But it's been a good season.
It definitely has, and we're all here for it. And the grand final is this Sunday, 2:40. Played at, who knows? Springfield.
There's been a bit of controversy about this. This is Brisbane's new training complex. The fact that they've just laid the turf, they reckon it could be unsafe, and the fact that it only holds 8,000 people.
I did see that in the news, actually. Yeah.
When the average crowd for a grand final has been a tick over 20, it's like, are you trying to grow the game or not? But that's another story.
Yeah. Well, that's a wrap up for us, guys. Again, thank you, listeners, and to the viewers out there. Thanks for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Next episode, this is a bit of a different one. So as you guys would have heard, the boys are heading over to Hamilton, Blair and Connor's home turf, and we're going to be doing a special podcast episode in their lad pad. So that is something to look forward to. We cannot wait for that. And we're also going to be having a backyard cricket match, which Jackson will explain a little bit more quickly for us listeners to look forward to.
So, it's been a bit of a tradition in my household for a few years now. But, basically thought, we've got all the open space out there. We might as well put it to good use rather than have cattle out there. We thought, what better way, get the boys on board, have a backyard cricket showdown. Stay tuned for some updates from the boys. I'll get their thoughts on the games and everything like that. But winner gets bragging rights, or we'll work something out. But it should be good.
Loser sleeps outside with the cattle.
I think that's already happened anyway. But
can't wait for that. It's something to look forward to. Looking forward to it. Thank you again, listeners and viewers out there, for listening in, tuning in. Make sure to follow us on the socials, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. Our predictions will be sent out. Details on the next episode and whatnot will be out. So stay tuned. We post regularly, so always something to be updated on. But once again, thanks for tuning in. Thank you, Connor, for tuning in and being with us virtually.
No worries. Thanks for having me, boys. It's been a great one.
And Blair, hope you're having a good time up in the Gold Coast. Thank you, Hugo and Jackson, for joining me. And we'll catch you guys next time in Hamilton. Thank you.